In the last decade, K-pop has seen its fair share of shocking news, hated idols, and unforgettable disbandments. From hated songs to controversial trends and intense dating rumors, these moments reveal a side of the industry that's rarely talked about. So let's start off with the most hated debut songs beginning in 2011. Stellar is mostly remembered for their bold, mature image, but their debut couldn't have been more different. When they first stepped onto the scene in August 2011 with Rocket Girl featuring Eric from Shinhwa, expectations were high. With such a well-known idol involved, many thought they were set for a strong start, but the song ended up being a complete letdown. Listeners criticized nearly every part of it: the messy structure, awkward auto-tune, poor mixing, and robotic-sounding vocals. One Reddit user even questioned if the members were Korean because the voices sounded so unnatural. Jeonyul's rap was also heavily mocked. The reception was so negative that many assumed the company had rushed the group out before they were ready. Even the members later admitted they weren't fans of that era, and they mostly didn't like to talk about that. And honestly, who could blame them? 2012. While EXO's Mama is now seen as one of the most iconic songs and debuts in K-pop history, that wasn't the case when it first came out. At least not right away. One early review described EXO as being like a restaurant where the appetizers are tiny, the main course is so underwhelming you stop caring about dessert altogether. At the time, many felt SM Entertainment had released too many teasers before the debut, so when Mama finally dropped, it didn't feel fresh. Viewers also had issues with EXO's concept, calling the lore cringy and over the top. The lyrics were seen as confusing, Kai's part toward the end didn't land well, and overall, the whole thing felt overly dramatic. As a Reddit user put it best, the music video, the chants at the beginning, the devilish cultish stuff was too much. I personally like it, but it was absolutely not for the regular large-scale audience. 2013. You might not recognize the name Hang Minwoo, but chances are you've seen his face. He was the kid who went viral as Little Psy after a few seconds of screen time in the music video for Gangnam Style. That brief fame led to someone in the industry thinking it was a good idea to turn him into a full-fledged idol. And so, his debut song Showtime was born. Unfortunately, the debut was a disaster. Less because of Minwoo's talent and more because of the choices made around him. He had already proven he had potential on shows like Star King and Korea's Got Talent, where he received plenty of praise. But Showtime was messy from the start. The song tried to ride the trends of the time with a jarring dubstep drop that didn't fit at all, awful melodies, and non-stop Gangnam Style references that felt forced and unnecessary. Still, the worst part wasn't the music. The real issue was how wildly inappropriate everything else was. Minwoo was only 8 years old, yet the choreography, the lyrics, and especially the music video were deeply uncomfortable. He's seen dancing and flirting with much older women, drinking surrounded by them, and even getting kissed on the cheek. It was disturbing to watch, and many felt it crossed the line entirely. In 2023, Minwoo gave music another shot with a trot album, which was a much better fit, but it's still crazy that something like Showtime even exists in the first place. 2014. Most people probably don't remember MOA, and honestly, there's a reason for that. The 5-member girl group debuted under a company called Professional Entertainment in early 2014 with a song titled I'll Call Ya, and that ended up being both their first and last release. From the moment the song dropped, it was met with criticism. Listeners pointed out the shaky vocals, with members clearly straining through their lines, and the overall production quality was called out for being poorly done. It didn't take long for people to assume the company had jumped the gun, pushing the group out without proper planning or training. Not long after, their first comeback was quietly cancelled, and by 2015, MOA had disbanded without much of a trace, with the members going their separate ways. 2015. Amber might have stood out as a member of FX, but her solo debut didn't quite land the way fans had hoped. She was the first in the group to go solo, releasing Shake That Brass on February 13th, 2015. The song featured Taeyeon from Girls' Generation and came with a star-studded music video, which created a lot of buzz at the time. But once the hype faded, reactions were mixed at best. Many felt the track tried too hard to be upbeat, throwing in random sounds and shifting rhythms that made it feel chaotic rather than fun. The lyrics were also seen as cringy and all over the place, with the English lines in particular getting called out for sounding forced. Even Taeyeon's appearance didn't win people over, as some felt her part didn't fit the vibe of the song and didn't add anything special. Although a few listeners enjoyed the energy of the track, most agreed it wasn't the strongest start to Amber's solo career. 2016. Pentagon's debut also didn't exactly wow everyone, despite the buzz leading up to it. They officially debuted on October 7th, 2016 with Gorilla following their appearance on the Mnet survival show Pentagon Maker. With all the attention they had gained, expectations were high, but the song ended up dividing opinions fast. While some fans were into it, many felt the track was one of the weakest of the year. Critics called it forgettable, saying Cube Entertainment played it way too safe by using a formula that countless countless boy groups had already done. The instrumental, with its jazzy snake charmer vibe, was labeled outdated. But what really threw people off were the lyrics and the performance. The song compares the members' feelings for a girl to a gorilla pounding its chest, which wouldn't have been so bad if the choreography didn't double down on it. The members were literally dancing in ape-like movements, beating their chests on stage, which came off more awkward than impactful. Still, as rough as that debut was, Gorilla remains one of the stronger entries on this list, which says a lot. 2017. CUTIE was originally a girl group made up of 6 very young members, averaging just 12.5 years old. Their whole image revolved around being kids, which rightfully got a lot of controversy. Specifically, the music video for their debut song Play You raised eyebrows. It starts like a video game with a start screen, then quickly shifts to the girls themselves, presented like characters waiting to be played. Rather than feeling playful, this concept made the girls seem more like objects on display than actual people. It crossed a line for some people, blurring the boundary between fun entertainment and uncomfortable exploitation. Things only got worse as the video went on. There's a strange scene with bananas and carrots, followed by a close-up of one girl swallowing, which many viewers found unsettling and suggestive, especially given how young the members were. No matter how the song sounded, all of that was completely overshadowed by the disturbing visuals, and the weirdness of the video made it impossible to focus on anything else, making it one of the worst releases of 2017. 2018. Holland is known for breaking barriers as one of the first openly gay idols in K-pop, but his debut song Neverland didn't win over many listeners. While some noted that the song's production had its flaws, the biggest criticism was aimed squarely at his vocals. Many felt his singing sounded muffled and unclear, as if he was swallowing his words, which made it difficult to understand the lyrics. At times, his voice came across as too soft and lacking the strength needed to carry the track, leaving listeners disconnected from the overall experience. This vocal weakness overshadowed much of the song's potential, turning the debut into a disappointment for many fans and critics. 2019. Somi was one of the standout contestants on Produce 101 and gained huge popularity as a member of IOI, so everyone was excited for her solo debut. But when Birthday finally dropped, it didn't meet those high expectations. Many listeners felt the production sounded a bit amateurish for such a big-name artist, and despite the busy arrangement, the track came across as generally empty. The style also felt outdated to some, with fans comparing it to something pulled straight from Meghan Trainor's vault. The signature Teddy Park drop, usually a highlight, only made things worse here. Overall, the song was seen as a typical Teddy production, full of repetitive EDM beats and overused English lines, paired with a cool, edgy concept that just didn't suit Somi's personality or style. 2020. Whether or not CUTIE should even be considered a K-pop group has always been up for debate, but since they called themselves one, they've earned their spot on this list. Formed by Front Row Records and produced by Monica Lee, CUTIE made their debut on April 15, 2020 with Your Turn. 2 weeks later, they announced their official Korean debut, claiming the title of the first UK-based K-pop group. But from the beginning, nothing about their launch felt solid. The idea of a British girl group branding themselves as K-pop stirred up backlash immediately, especially since none of the members spoke Korean and the group itself had been thrown together in less than a month. The track itself was a mess. The mixing was rough, the structure was confusing, and the lyrics were repetitive to the point of sounding copy-pasted. The members didn't blend well vocally, and their lack of synchronization was obvious both in the choreography and in the performance overall. Critics also pointed out that their vocals were flat, and without any real grasp of the language or the genre's cultural context, their attempt at K-pop felt more like imitation than tribute. CUTIE eventually disbanded in 2023, and for most K-pop fans, the group's existence is remembered more as an awkward experiment than a meaningful contribution to the genre. 2021. Now let's move on to Solia, a 5-member girl group under Space Music Entertainment, and they only managed to release one digital single called Dream on August 17, 2021. The song wasn't awful, and the members clearly had skills, but the video and production looked like they were done on almost no budget. Even though they had promised, the group didn't get a chance to grow because just 5 days later, they disbanded. The announcement came through their official Instagram, where company circumstances were vaguely mentioned as the reason. Later on, they added that it wasn't only financial issues, but also disagreements between the members about their career goals. They reportedly had different ideas about where they were headed, which led to the decision to disband and let everyone go their own way. So while the song itself wasn't a disaster, the group calling it quits after just 5 days definitely earns Dream a spot on this list. 2022. NMIXX's debut was one of the most hyped in recent years, but things quickly took a turn. Dropping on February 22, 2022, their first single OO was meant to make a bold statement, but not in the way anyone expected. Instead of praise, the track was met with confusion. Critics and fans alike called it a chaotic mashup of different songs that didn't stick together, with many saying it felt like JYP wanted to be experimental without really understanding how to pull it off. The song's sudden genre switch mid-track only made things more jarring, and its overall lack of structure made it hard to remember anything specific about it. The lyrics didn't help either, as many found them meaningless, and the members' unclear pronunciation made parts of the song nearly impossible to follow. Even the Daily Mail picked it up, slamming it as the worst K-pop song ever. Still, despite the harsh headlines, not everyone agreed with that extreme label. But it's fair to say OO left a rough first impression. 2023. BABYMONSTER was also introduced with all the hype you would expect from a YG girl group, but their debut left people underwhelmed as their first song, Batter Up, landed with a thud. It wasn't awful, just painfully forgettable. So forgettable, in fact, that YG gave them a second debut not long after. Compared to other tracks out there, Batter Up was easier on the ears, but it didn't bring anything new to the table. Fans pointed out that the song followed the exact same structure YG has used for years. Predictable format, recycled energy, and lyrics that tried to sound bold but didn't pack any punch. The whole thing felt like a copy of a copy, as if 21 passed it to Blackpink, and now BABYMONSTER was stuck with what was left. There was no build-up, no standout moment, nothing to hold on to. While the group has since released stronger tracks, their debut came and went without making much noise. It wasn't terrible, but it sure wasn't memorable either. 2024. Before the internet knew him for his scandals, Beomhan was already getting attention for what many called the worst K-pop debut ever. The backlash was so strong, he actually apologized for it. For context, Beomhan is a Chinese-American rapper, dancer, and singer, and a former member of the pre-debut boy group Mont Arena. He debuted solo on January 31st, 2024 with the digital single Me, Myself, and I. To some, it was impressive that he managed to pull off a full solo debut with a music video, choreography, and backup dancers all on his own. But unfortunately, the end result wasn't well received. People said the song felt like a poorly edited high school project. It lacked any kind of vocal arrangement, and the mixing and production were so rough that they became a running joke. Listeners pointed out how flat and lifeless his vocals sounded, with no direction, training, or technique behind them. The lyrics were slammed as cringy, and the choreography didn't match the vibe of the track at all. Even Beomhan seemed to realize how bad the response was. He posted what fans jokingly called an apology on Instagram, and even shared a on-mute version of the song, literally the same music video but without any sound. Say what you will, at least he owned it. We're just halfway through 2025, so it's still too soon to pick the worst debut song of the year. But tell us in the comments, what do you think takes that title so far? And don't forget to like and subscribe for more K-pop news and lists like this.
지난달 말 1년여간 교제해온 여자친구의 사망.
Accusations against a pop star has pushed China's Me Too movement back into the spotlight.
The K-pop world doesn't give us any time to breathe, and that's why it only seems fair to us to go down memory lane and take a look at the most shocking and controversial news from the last decade. 2011. Let's start off with something really big. This may not be a secret relationship or marriage, but it's definitely the scandal that brought terrible consequences. On the morning of May 31st, Big Bang's Daesung was investigated by the police for his involvement in a car accident which resulted in the of a motorcyclist. Although both parties reached a settlement, this wasn't something that money could fix. Taeyeon was also a hot topic in 2011, but not for the reasons you might think. During a performance of Run Devil Run, a male audience member snuck in from the back and grabbed Taeyeon's wrist, attempting to pull her away. The SNSD members were understandably shocked, and it made one of the biggest headlines that year. Just imagine how confused and scared Taeyeon must have been after that experience. 2012. Scandals of bad behavior between members are not uncommon, but Kiata's case is one of a kind. Right before a show, one of the members, Hwayoung, was seen with a cast on her leg on the airport pictures, but photographers and fans that were present claimed that Hwayoung was walking normally until they started taking pictures. This isn't even the weirdest part of it, trust me. After the show ended, Hwayoung's sister made a vague tweet that said that her sister was suffering. This is when the rumors of the other members mistreating started. Even though all of them were debunked, the fall of Tiara seemed to happen overnight. Seeing the damage she had caused, Hwayoung tweeted that everything was all a big misunderstanding, but even with her, Tiara, and the company clarifying everything, the public had made up its mind that Hwayoung was innocent. It wasn't until 6 years later that the truth got revealed, and although everyone pretended to be shocked, she wasn't the victim. A staff member apparently got fed up with her playing the victim and posted receipts of Hwa-young mistreating one of the members. And the injured leg thing at the airport, also fake. She was that dedicated to her act. The turn of events was the plot twist of the century, if you ask me. 2013. Online media outlets like All K-Pop and Koreaboo have been called out for crossing the line a lot, but this instance alone was definitely the worst one. In November 2013, All K-Pop shared an article in which they claimed that the singer Ailey is the woman in some explicit pictures that were being shared on anonymous forums. People also started suspecting that her ex-boyfriend was the one who leaked those pictures, and they were right because Dispatch released a phone call where he tried to sell them. This wasn't even the most shocking thing that happened in 2013. On May 21st, the police found the lifeless body of GOD member Son Ho-young's girlfriend in a car that was registered to him. He was initially brought in as a suspect, but the case was later ruled as where the ex-girlfriend cited him as the reason for what she did. This sent Ho-young into a spiral, and he tried to end his in the same way. He's safe and healthy now, but this was really tragic. 2014. 2014 was really packed when it came to scandals. The year started with relationships getting exposed left and right, but that wasn't all. Dahi, member of former big hit group Glam, and model Lee Ji-yeon were accused of blackmailing actor Lee Byung-hyun. Dahi and Ji-yeon apparently threatened Byung-hyun with a compromising video, saying that they would make it public unless he gave them $4.4 million. Of course, they ended up serving prison time. That wasn't all, folks. Park Bum was accused of smuggling illegal substances into the country, and it greatly affected her career. But this was just another case of women getting backlash for basically nothing, because it was explained that the quote-unquote illegal substances were prescribed ADHD medicine that wasn't legal in Korea. The case was dismissed, but netizens still didn't leave her alone. The news of Jessica leaving SNSD made headlines in September, and it's a topic that gets discussed even today. For younger K-pop fans, imagine if Nayeon was kicked out of Twice, or Lisa got kicked out of Blackpink. Her departure raised the usual "did she leave or was she forced to leave" question, but I guess we'll never know the truth. I hope Jessica releases another book explaining it. On a darker note, September 2014 also marks the month where the Ladies Code members had a fatal car crash in which Eunbi and Lee passed away and the other members suffered serious injuries. It was a shocking event, and I hope Eunbi and Lee rest in peace and that the other members, family, and friends can find comfort too. 2015. The whirl of scandals in the K-pop industry didn't spare IU either, because she was accused of utilizing a character from a children's book in her song Zeze. The controversy began when a publishing company accused IU's portraying of the character as a object. IU apologized by saying it was not her intention, but she understood why others were offended. The company apologized themselves, and this ended the whole ordeal, though many are still wondering what the true meaning of the song was. SM didn't have a good year, as Tao and Sulli both decided to leave their groups. Sulli had been on hiatus from FX activities since 2014 and decided to leave the group to focus on her acting career, but Tao took the phrase "go big or go home" too seriously because he decided to do both. According to Tao's father, the reason he left was because SM put his well-being at risk, and they later filed a lawsuit against the company just like Chris Wu and Luhan. Tao's lawsuit was the first case from EXO's Chinese line that SM won. His contract with SM remains valid until 2022. 2016. K-pop stans suffered the loss of both 21 and 4-Minute in the span of a year. After Park Bum's scandal and Minzy's departure, 21's reputation and future was hanging on a thread. It all ended when YG officially announced that the group had disbanded. Not that it wasn't expected, but we were allowed to be sad, and we still are. 4-Minute's disbandment was completely different, because if Cube said that it was happening due to the members having other plans for the future, anyone knew it was because of Cube focusing on Hyunna's solo career more than the group. 2017. Whether 2017 was good for K-pop groups or not, it ended in the worst way possible. On December 18th, Chinese Kim Jong-hyun was found unconscious in his own home and passed away at the age of 27. It was later revealed that he committed. His sudden passing left people devastated, but everyone was dealt a gut-wrenching blow when his last note was posted to the public by a close friend. The note read, "I'm broken from the inside. The depression that has slowly eaten away at me has finally consumed me, and I couldn't beat it. Definitely one of the most heartbreaking moments in the history of K-pop." 2018. If there's one person that deserves to rot in jail for all eternity, it's Guada's ex-boyfriend. After a fight where he caused her physical damage, he blackmailed her and said that he'll ruin her life and career by threatening to send a 30-second clip of their private tape to Dispatch. Guada gave a statement saying, "I acknowledge the wounds that I've given him, but what about this other wound that he's given me?" She later sued him for coercion and blackmail and fought like a true warrior. We can't forget the dating news that made our jaws drop. After rumors started circulating of Hyuna and Dawn dating, everyone was left speechless. Cube denied everything, but Hyuna had other plans, as she came out saying that they'd been dating for a while back then. This resulted in them both getting kicked out of the company, but Cube's stock literally plummeted after they left, while Hyuna and Dawn had no trouble signing with another agency, and now they're thriving. 2019. What began as a police investigation into a nightclub quickly spiraled into something much bigger, and the names of the people being involved shocked the public more than anything. After the initial investigation, various allegations of disgusting things happening came forward. Why this case received so much media attention was because of the people involved, which were Big Bang's Seungri, Jung Joon-young, FT Island's Choi Jung-un, and many others. Joon-young and Jung-un were sentenced to 6 years in prison, and Seungri was sentenced to 3. Although the years they'll spend in prison don't compare to the horrible crimes they committed, let's hope that the victims find peace and justice being served. The sad things that the industry faced in 2019 unfortunately don't end there. Former FX member Sully's lifeless body was found in her home by her manager. She had been the target of malicious comments from netizens since she debuted, and many consider them to be one of the reasons that Sully decided to say goodbye. But people didn't have the time to grieve her properly because not even a month later, her best friend Guada passed away too. Their passing shed a light on the huge amount of pressure put on K-pop stars and the lack of mental health support. They will always be missed. 2020. One of the biggest and shocking controversies in the K-pop industry in 2020 was that of AOA's Jimin, who had mistreated her former bandmate Mina for nearly a decade. Mina shared multiple posts on Instagram about how Jimin tormented her when they were bandmates until she eventually left the group in 2018, causing her mental health to deteriorate and driving her to self-harm. Jimin first called her claims fictitious, but later apologized and left the group in July 2020. She's been laying low ever since. 2021. Accusations of inappropriate behavior of idols from when they were younger seem to have been the wave this year because I couldn't start the day without a new one coming out. From Luna's Chu to Stray Kids Hyunjin and Idol Soojin, nobody seems safe from these rumors. But as it always is with rumors popping up just as idols are at the peak of their careers, most, if not all of them, were proven to be false. But despite all this, Hyunjin and Soojin still suffer the consequences, with Soojin getting the short end of the stick. Hyunjin was put on hiatus but eventually returned, but Soojin got kicked out of Idol, with Cube claiming that she left on her own, as if anyone would believe that. NCT's Lucas was swept up in some rumors of his own, as he was accused by multiple women for gaslighting them during the time they were dating. SM Entertainment and Lucas released their statements and announced Lucas would halt future activities for the time being. Closing this video with the worst and heaviest scandal of the year so far. On July 19th, former EXO member Chris Wu was accused and arrested for harming and using multiple women, some still being minors. The first accusation came in early July when a 19-year-old girl said that he had harmed her while she was drunk. More than 20 women have since come forward alleging inappropriate behavior. Chris has denied all allegations, but he got arrested and the investigation is still ongoing, although it looks like he's going to spend a major portion of his life in prison.
And while scandals made headlines, certain idols became targets year after year.
Female idols in the K-pop industry have always gotten hate for the dumbest and most ridiculous things ever. It goes from looks and outfits to literally winking at a camera. Netizens and K-pop stans haven't let female idols breathe in peace without going for their necks. So let's go through a list of the most hated idols by netizens in the last decade. 2011. Netizens have had a problem with Tiffany's apparent bad attitude ever since SNSD debuted. Her controversy started when she criticized actor Kim Ji-suk's English pronunciation and when she made comments about the Super Junior members and some other idols. But she also got hate for her bubbly personality, which some people thought to be fake, so go figure. She can't joke with her coworkers and she can't be nice to them either because people are going to have a problem with it either way. You can never win with these netizens. 2012. Hyuna has always been a hot topic amongst K-pop fans and netizens for just being herself. She got hate for the fact that companies sexualized her ever since she was a minor, for how Cube pushed her more than the other 4-minute members, and mostly for her brave and sometimes provocative image. Since she was getting banned from broadcasting too much for this very reason, she made a rule to hide at least one place of her body on MVs. But when the ice cream MV dropped, they made a separate MV for TV purposes, and that ended up being banned too. It's not for the reasons you think though. Hyuna claims that the MV was banned because people considered her eyes to be too seductive. Insane to even think about, I know. But the way people hated her for being confident is plain disgusting. 2013. Kara's Gu Hara got an unnecessary amount of hate in 2013 for being upset. In an appearance on Radio Star, Hara was asked about a topic she'd rather not discuss during the episode. She hesitantly replied with dating, which prompted the MCs to shamelessly joke about Hara's dating reputation. The last straw was Kyuhyun's comment when he remarked, "If I open my mouth, Hara will be over," which caused Hara to eventually start crying and get frustrated. But instead of hating on the MCs, praising Kyuhyun for putting her on the spot and making her uncomfortable, netizens hated on Hara instead for being too emotional. One netizen said, "Kyuhyun obviously looks so taken aback, his facial expression got all hardened. Did she seriously throw a water bottle in front of so many huge seniors?" Hara got so much hate that one of the KATA members even apologized, but this incident just highlighted the double standards in the industry. Hara's ex-boyfriend Jung-hyung got to shut down the dating questions with a simple, "It's hard to talk about," while Hara was always getting attacked from left and right. 2014 was definitely not a good year for female idols, with Jessica announcing that she had been dropped from the group by the company and the rest of the members, and SM Entertainment's statement asserting that Jessica wanted out of the group. Everyone started making theories. But along with it, some fans accused her of betraying the group, saying she put her selfish intentions over SNSD. A netizen wrote, "Seems this happened because Jessica was overly ambitious with her dating, business, wedding, and even SNSD promotions. She's a bit greedy. Apparently wanting the best for yourself is too greedy now." However, her post on Weibo made people believe that the members were to blame for her departure, especially Taeyeon as a leader. People seem to have been under the impression that they knew everything that went on in the members' lives, and came to the conclusion that Taeyeon and Jessica hated each other, and that Taeyeon had the final say in whether SNSD would continue promoting as 9. Park Bom was also caught up in controversy for smuggling illegal substances, even though that it was explained and confirmed time and time again that it was just her ADHD medication. Others didn't seem to care too much about the truth, because when the opportunity to crucify a female idol presents itself, they're more than willing to take it. People were asking for her to be jailed and to be exiled from the industry altogether. Park Bom was cleared of all charges, but netizens harass her about it to this day. 2015. Red Velvet didn't always have 5 members, but I guess you guys already knew that. They debuted as 4, with Yeti being added to the group a year later. Her mere existence, though, seemed to have pissed fans and netizens off, as they started hating on her immediately. Mind you, she was just 15. They thought Yeti added nothing, and her joining Red Velvet changed the aura of the group. They also thought that her joining would be Red Velvet's downfall, but who's laughing now? Jessica's sister, Crystal, wasn't having a good time herself, as people nicknamed her Ice Princess over her alleged poor attitude. She had been under fire multiple times for her so-called resting bee face, but all the hate netizens have been collecting culminated during her appearance on 2015's MAMA Awards. She was bashed for being too stone-faced during the red carpet interview, and netizens even assumed she got into a fight with her fellow members. Crystal still hasn't shaken off the nickname, but even though she had expressed the hate comments used to stress her out, she said that they don't really bother her anymore and she rarely checks them. We love the queen for being true to herself. 2016. Twice's Zuyu holding up the Taiwanese flag during a variety show caused her to receive extreme criticism from Chinese netizens, as they speculated that she held the flag because she was representing Taiwan as an independent country, which according to China still belongs to them. They went as far as to ask for Zuyu and Twice to be banned from China altogether. The news also reached international media, and JYP made Zuyu release an apology video, which makes no sense as she was given the flag by others and was only 16 at the time. Imagine how traumatizing it must have been to have a whole nation attacking you at the age of 16. Apparently, some armies took the fact that Jungkook named IU as his ideal type as an invitation to post hate comments on her SNS account. Though the two had never even interacted outside of polite greetings during award shows, IU's name still gets mentioned alongside Jungkook's, and you will still find hate comments on Instagram to this day. Just leave the poor woman alone. 2017. In 2012, Hwayoung was living her best life as she had convinced everyone that she was harmed by the other Tiara members. Everything went downhill after a staff member got fed up with her and her sister playing the victim and decided to finally spill the real truth. They posted screenshots of Hwayoung hurting another member and even exposed her for faking her leg injury for sympathy points. And that's how she became one of the most disliked idols in 2017. 2018. After a video comparing Jennie's performances when she was a rookie to some recent ones went viral, netizens, aunties, and even fans of Blackpink started accusing her of being lazy and letting fame get to her head. Jennie had already gotten hate for being the supposed YG princess, but it was nothing compared to this. It got so bad, Jennie had to release an apology letter on her birthday. It was later revealed that she was suffering from an ankle injury at the time, but she still chose to perform for fans. Mamamoo seems to be the go-to group for K-pop fans whenever they feel like they need to hate on someone. Not that some criticism isn't justified, like their incidents with saying the N-word and doing blackface, but most of the time the hate makes no sense whatsoever. It arguably began around late 2018 when aunties began to change Mamamoo's music video titles to R-slurs and D-threats. The hate only doubled as Mamamoo received criticism on their dancing, vocals, and looks. While it's completely valid for people not to accept their apologies, some of the comments were extreme. Unfortunately, the hate hasn't diminished since then, but we're lucky the girls continue to do their thing despite it. 2019. Soyeon hasn't had the best track record with netizens and K-pop fans either. Idol has faced some backlash for cultural appropriation too, but Soyeon Beomhan is always in the eye of the storm when it comes to it. During a segment on Queendom where the groups were shown discussing their stages, Soyeon wanted Oogie to do the intro part African style, which was seen as disrespectful by other fans. She's also criticized for her unfair line distribution in idol songs because she is the producer and writer of their music. But I doubt she has any control on who gets the most lines, but you know how it goes when people make up their minds. 2020. AOA's Daemin became the most hated idol in the industry after Kwon Mina basically accused her of mentally and physically hurting her for the last 10 years. Her Instagram account was flooded with hate comments, and her YouTube channel became the most unsubscribed channel in Korea. Her apology letter on Instagram did little to nothing when it came to damage control, and she hasn't been seen in the public since then. This is far from the end of it, but more on that later. Irene's reputation in 2020 wasn't the best either. A stylist posted a lengthy caption on her Instagram accusing an idol of treating her horribly, and while she didn't name anyone, the caption ended with #psycho and #monster, two hashtags that led social media users to speculate that Irene was the idol in question. Irene and SM confirmed the speculations by posting apologies to the stylist. While her apology got mixed reactions, other staff members that had previously worked with Irene had nothing but nice things to say about her. Irene laid low for some time so the scandal could simmer down and came back fabulous as ever for Red Velvet's Queendom. 2021. I did talk about plot twists, but wait until you hear about how Mina became one of the most disliked idols. While Jimin kept quiet about the whole scandal, we still haven't heard the end of it from Mina. She has been popping up with posts and interviews about Jimin a year after the scandal ended, but it all came crashing down on her when Dispatch released the transcripts of conversations between her and AOA members on the night everything happened. While Mina claimed Jimin had never apologized about the incident, the transcript showed the opposite. Screenshots also showed Mina harassing and calling Jimin names over messages, and even texts from staff members talking about how afraid they were of Mina's reactions and outbursts. This immediately made the public's opinion switch on who was the victim and who was the perpetrator. Karina has been under scrutiny from netizens for basically everything ever since aespa debuted. From the second SM posted her teasers for Black Mamba, people bashed her visuals as if she isn't one of the most beautiful women to have walked on the earth. Where are your eyes, people? Everyone is also convinced that she's an SM favorite, even though there's nothing to back up that claim. The hate continues even today, with her teaser pictures being the most commented ones in comparison to the other members. But Karina remains pretty, rich, and talented, so I guess it's pretty obvious that our girl Karina is winning. Which female idol do you think got the most undeserved hate? Tough choice, I know.
But male idols weren't immune to public outrage either.
We have discussed the most hated female idols of this decade, so it's only fair to talk about the most hated K-pop male idols since 2011. Some of these were false rumors, the others were far more serious, so I'll just let you be the judge of whether they deserve to be disliked or not. 2011. Well, the fact that this idol got so much hate is completely justified. On May 31st, 2011, Big Bang's Daesung was involved in a car accident on Yanghwa Bridge, where he struck a motorcyclist known to the public as Mr. Hyun, who was lying on the ground due to a previous accident. There was a car driving ahead of Daesung who was able to spot both Mr. Hyun on the ground and the taxi, which had its emergency lights flashing. Daesung was unable to react in time as he was driving way past the limit, and if that wasn't enough, he was also drunk. He hit Mr. Hyun with his Audi, dragged him 22 meters across the expressway, and then hit the taxi that was parked. Mr. Hyun was pronounced and Daesung was labeled as a... Obviously, the public didn't take it lightly that he literally someone, and neither did the company. YG Entertainment announced Daesung would be on hiatus and reflect on himself and his actions during the investigation. 2013. While I was doing my research, I couldn't really find anything in particular that happened in 2012, so if you guys know anything, please let me know in the comments. However, in 2013, it was an entirely different story and a really heartbreaking one. On May 21st, the police found the lifeless body of GOD members Son Ho-young's girlfriend in a car that was registered to him. She had reportedly ended her own life by overdosing. This side note revealed that she had been suffering from death. She also reportedly cited her relationship with the singer in her note as one of the reasons she chose to end her life. She wrote, "I feel disappointed by Son Ho-young." This of course led people to blaming him for her passing. This caused Ho-young to go on a spiral and try to end his life the same way. After he woke up in the hospital, he realized he had a strong family in the 5-member GOD band and was thankful. It helped him overcome the hardship. 2014 to 2015. For many K-drama fans, their gateway series into the world of K-dramas tends to be Boys Over Flowers. Boys Over Flowers was huge in South Korea during its release and remains a pretty beloved series 10 years after its release. It also launched the careers of the show's actors, but while Hyunjun's career continued to flourish, his personal life descended into chaos. He was one of the most hated people in South Korea in 2014 and 2015 because of the accusations that he physically his girlfriend. In 2014, Hyunjun's ex-girlfriend, known only as Choi, filed charges against him. She claimed in the case that he repeatedly beat her, which led to bruises and broken ribs. Kim Hyung-jung, however, said that he only injured her once when practicing martial arts. It initially ended with Kim Hyung-jung being fined 5 million Korean won for injuring Choi. Prosecutors elaborated on this, saying, while Kim claimed that he had no intention of hurting her, the damage from the attack was clear. Kim apologized for the charges and acknowledged his responsibility for inflicting mental and physical damage. The drama continued when the couple reported to be reunited and expecting the birth of their first child in 2015. Hyung-jung denied these claims quickly, but a paternity test proved him to be the father. His girlfriend later came forward and posted text messages sent by Hyung-jung telling her to get an abortion and calling her a pig. Not only that, but it was also revealed that Choi became pregnant 5 times during their 2-year relationship. But later, it was revealed that his ex completely made up the pregnancy and claims she had a miscarriage due to... She was sued by Kim Hyung-jung for fraud and fined $5,000 in February of 2018. How is his life just as dramatic as the dramas he acted in? 2016. You may remember Yoo-chun from dramas like Seungri Scandal and Rooftop Prince, or as a member of hugely popular JYJ. But his stellar image was tainted after he was accused of sexual by 5 different women in 2016. The first woman to accuse him said he had taken her into a bathroom stall in an adult entertainment establishment and subsequent accusers came forward claiming Yoo-chun had them all in the bathroom of bars, beginning as far as 2014, and with each report, his reputation plummeted. Yoo-chun was cleared of all charges in July of 2016 due to lack of evidence, but the damage had been done. In July 2019, the Seoul Court Mediation Center made the decision that Park Yoo-chun had to pay the second victim 50 million won in damages. He paid the fine and was cleared of suspicion on all 4 counts and had no trouble coming back to the scene in 2019 with a solo mini-album, despite of what he did and was accused of. 2017. Siwon, his family, and most importantly, their dog were wrapped up in a lot of controversy. Yes, their dog too. Bugsy, the family's French bulldog, bit their 53-year-old neighbor in the elevator of their building. The neighbor, Mrs. Kim, passed away 6 days after the bite. As she had been undergoing chemotherapy, the dog's bite caused her sepsis and severe infections that led to Mrs. Kim's passing. To say the Choi family got plenty of backlash for it would be really downplaying it. The matter came to light after Siwon and his father apologized and offered their condolences. While some netizens have rallied for Siwon's family to put down the dog, others have pointed out that it's rare to get sepsis from a dog bite and that the victim could have been suffering from health issues such as diabetes that put her in a higher risk of getting sepsis. Bugsy has been sent away and is no longer living with the Choi family, but it's crazy what damage Siwon's dog caused to his reputation. 2018. Mention November 2018 to any army and you see the color drain from their faces. A whole slew of events ensued after Jimin was seen wearing a shirt celebrating the liberation of Korea. One event that led to the liberation of Korea is the atomic of Japan. As you all probably know, there was no intention to celebrate this event. Nevertheless, photos of Jimin in the shirt started to gain traction on social media, and in early November, it wasn't long before the Japanese words for #unforgivable and #atomic started trending on Twitter, and some Japanese social media users were furious. This also included far-right Japanese right-wing extremists who accused Jimin and BTS of terrible things. This led to TV Asahi calling off an upcoming appearance by BTS. TV Asahi had invited BTS to perform on its live music show, but revoked the invite after it had received complaints about Jimin being there in the first place. People demanded an apology for not only the people of Japan and Korea, but to all victims of Big Hit was quick to come back and defend themselves against these allegations, claiming the company and the artists they represent do not support. They said, "We do not condone any groups oriented towards political extremist and totalitarian beliefs, including we had no intention of causing distress or pain to anyone affected by the dropping of atomic weapons. We will continue to adhere to these principles." 2019. Apart from being the first K-pop scandal of 2019, this is by far one of the biggest and most shocking controversies that ever hit the Korean entertainment industry in years. Since the infamous case at Burning Sun, the nightclub that started it all, people have been hit with numerous shocking reports that have quickly unraveled the dark truths of the industry. From the first big expose by SBS, which reported Big Bang Seungri involvement with the case, to the larger scaled allegations of his appalling group chat with the other male idols that shared hidden camera footage of women, it always seems as if there's more to be revealed the next day. The intense scrutiny of this case has been led to the release of more text messages, which got netizens speculating the identity of the other male idols involved. Subsequent updates and investigations eventually revealed them to be Jung Joon-young and FT-STAN's Choi Jong-un, who, alongside Seungri, have all announced their retirement from the industry. The court judged Joon-young for 6 years and Jong-un for 5 years, while Seungri got only 3 years. Jong-un's sentence got reduced though, and he got released after serving 2 years and 6 months in prison. The South Korean justice system is really one big hot mess. 2020. For those who are familiar with Stray Kids, remember the departure of Woojin back in October of 2019? Although his reasons for leaving weren't extremely clear, he remained relevant in the media, and not all of the attention has been particularly positive. Following Woojin's departure, he continued organizing solo meetups with fans, focused on self-improvement, and implied that he's going to release merchandise sometime soon. But he also found himself in the midst of a legal battle because of some alarming accusations against him. One woman went on Twitter and wrote a post in both Korean and English, explaining that she and a friend reportedly met Woojin at a bar, and he touched her without her consent, despite her repeatedly rejecting his advances. He also attempted to use Stray Kids' name to win favor with the girls. Another user posted a similar set of events from a night on April 29 of 2019, and that's when everything started to go downhill for him. He denied all accusations, and the company released a 30-minute documentary debunking all of the claims against him. 2020 was truly a dark year, but Woojin is finally doing better now. When he left Stray Kids, some fans even called him a for allegedly mistreating some of the members, but these accusations have already been debunked too. 2021, the end of the horrifying things famous idols were involved in didn't unfortunately end with the Burning Sun scandal. On July 8th, a Chinese netizen by the name of Zhu Meitsu posted a series of screenshots of text messages and threw accusations against Chris Wu. She reported that Chris was allegedly involved with several girls, some of them underage. Continuing, she said that many were lured under the false pretenses of a job or other sort of benefits. His company, not very surprisingly, denied all of the allegations, but the brands he collaborated with started dropping him, and he was even arrested by the police in Beijing. I think we can all collectively agree that the most hated male idol in 2021 was definitely Lucas for some time too. No competition or debate in this one. On August 24, in different online communities and other social media like Twitter, a post circulated saying, "I was gaslighted by Lucas. He was a male flower snake." User @ushim on Twitter created a lengthy thread that narrated her alleged past relationship with Lucas and accused him of gaslighting and manipulating her throughout their relationship. She also accused him of spending her money on expensive clothes and jewelry. After that, 2 more different girls stepped in to make the same allegations against Lucas. All these 3 alleged victims shared screenshots of their conversations with him on WeChat and pictures of Lucas fans hadn't seen before. But even though the proof they presented to back up their claims was quickly proven to be false, and I mean quickly, Lucas was still forced to apologize by the company and went on hiatus. Seeing people turn against him so quickly, even asking for him to leave NCT altogether when all the proof was debunked, was honestly disturbing. But after all this was a lesson on how to not jump into conclusions without having all the facts straight, and I hope people finally understand that he is innocent.
But the one thing guaranteed to break the internet every year? Idol dating news. In today's video, we go down the memory lane and introduce you to some of the biggest dating scandals that happened in the last 11 years. 2011. In 2011, the news about Guhara and Highlights' Joon-young being a couple really shocked the K-pop world. Everyone was surprised to hear the news because Guhara and Joon-young were both at the top of the game and their success was skyrocketing back then. The way their agencies handled the dating rumors was also unusual. Back then, it was pretty common for agencies to stubbornly deny any kind of dating rumors, even if they came with proof to support the claims. When it came to Guhara and Joon-young, both of their agencies confirmed the news with no hesitation. The feedback the couple received after they made their relationship public was a positive one, and they even received notes from fans. Unfortunately, their relationship didn't last long, and the couple decided to part ways in May of 2013. Both of them stated that the reason for their breakup was their busy schedules, as it made them grow apart. 2012. 2012 belongs to the most ridiculous dating rumors in K-pop history. In November of 2012, one Chinese media reported that Psy and Girls' Generation's Yoona were dating. Based on the report, Psy and Yoona first met at a party. Apparently, Yoona was acting very shy at the party, but Psy was able to warm up to her with his bright and easygoing personality. According to the media, Yoona would then attend the party Psy would host, and their secret affair was born. The report also stated his wife was aware of their relationship. However, she kept quiet to protect Psy's career and her family. Yoona was even confronted about the situation during a press conference, but the translator refused to translate the question, so the publication asked the question in English. Yoona, however, didn't reply and left the room. Now, this whole dating rumor was based on a picture of Yoona walking together with another Asian man that actually looked nothing like Psy. Both of their agencies said that the claims were not even worth their time to respond, and K-pop fans dubbed this as the most bizarre dating rumor. 2013. SHINee somehow managed to stay out of any major dating rumors throughout their career, but there was a big talk about Onyu and After School's Jongha back in 2013. In March of 2013, Korean media Cookie News released the news about Onyu dating Jongha. It included a statement from a close acquaintance of both idols and also claimed that the couple had been dating for a year. The person shared that even though both idols were busy with their hectic schedules, they still made time to see each other. At the time, the dating rumor received a lot of attention because of their age difference. Onyu was born in 1989 and Jongha was in 1983. Both of their agencies, SM Entertainment and Pledis Entertainment, denied denied the dating rumors, claiming it was old and that the idols are just close friends. 2014. 2014 was when one of the most memorable K-pop couples was revealed. In June of 2014, the news of EXO's Baekhyun and Girls' Generation's Taeyeon dating made all the headlines. A Korean news outlet released a report claiming that Baekhyun and Taeyeon were going on private dates for months. After the post went viral, SM Entertainment released a statement in which they confirmed the rumors. Baekhyun and Taeyeon then became the first SM couple that made their relationship public. The reactions on their relationship were split. While many congratulated the couple, the others were angered and upset, even going as far as accusing the idols of ignoring their fans and fellow members. It got to the point where some fans even started a petition for Baekhyun to be removed from EXO. The situation was worse for Taeyeon. The online threats and hate because of her relationship pushed her to start taking legal action against the haters. The couple broke up in 2015, but close friends of the couple claimed that they broke up and got back together a few times throughout their relationship. Several years down the line, there was a full-on conspiracy theory that Baekhyun and Taeyeon never actually dated. According to netizens, SM Entertainment orchestrated the entire relationship in hopes of covering up different rumors and scandals like Chris's departure from EXO. 2015. IU and Jung Ki-ha decided to make their relationship public after rumors about them dating circulated online for a while. Dispatch revealed their relationship in October of 2015, sharing that IU and Ki-ha had been dating since March of that year. Despite their busy schedules, they still made time to see each other and maintain their relationship. IU's agency Lowen Entertainment confirmed the rumors not long after and added that the idols had been seeing each other for as long as 2 years. This news came off as a surprise to many because previously, IU was never involved in any dating scandal or a rumor. What added to the shock was their 11-year age difference. IU and Ki-ha officially broke up in 2017 after more than 3 years of dating. 2016. In 2016, the rumors about EXO's Kai and FX's Crystal being in a relationship went around like crazy. It finally settled when Dispatch came forward and confirmed that the two idols were indeed in a relationship. Kai and Crystal have been close friends since they were both trainees, but the rumors came when they were seen going on dates multiple times. While there were positive reactions to the announcement, a lot of people just couldn't get over it. Both Kai and Crystal received tons of hate when they revealed their relationship. A lot of fans felt betrayed because the idols were in a relationship and not attainable anymore. They came up with the nickname Kaistel for the couple. Even though most people were really happy for them, there were a few who weren't so thrilled. Much like with Baekhyun and Taeyeon, most believed that SM Entertainment claimed Kai and Crystal were in a relationship to cover up the scandals and disturbing rumors back then. Their relationship didn't last long as they broke up after only a year of dating in May of 2017. 2017. Twice's Mina and her then label mate GOT7's Bam Bam were swept up in a dating controversy in 2017. In March of 2017, a certain picture of the two idols went viral where Mina is laying down next to Bam Bam. The dating rumors came shortly after, mainly for the intimate nature of the picture, as pictures like these aren't very common for idols to take. While some were questioning if the two idols were in a relationship, the others were doubting the authenticity of the picture. Some fans decided to analyze the photo and claim that it was edited and not at all real. For example, the Bam Bam picture was actually taken from a photo shoot. It was obvious though that the picture with Mina and the one from the photo shoot were two completely different pictures. JYP Entertainment then stepped forward and released an official statement. The photo is simply candid with no other intentions. The two people are simply co-workers. Although this seems completely harmless, some fans went as far as to boycott Mina and even threaten her. 2018. 2018 was quite the legendary year as Hyuna and Dawn officially confirmed their relationship. It was quite the turning point, not only for their relationship, but for their career as well. At first, when the rumors started to spread, the two artists claimed that they were not in a relationship. Just a day later, the media source Yonhap News put on a report that the couple personally shared with them that they had been dating for 2 years already. According to Yonhap News, the two wanted to make their relationship public so they could face their fans confidently. After they departed from Cube Entertainment, they have been showing their fans little sneak peeks into the relationship, and fans are absolutely loving it. 2019. 2019 started off with a bang as a major star couple was announced on January 1st. Earlier that day, Dispatch made a report that EXO's Kai and Blackpink's Jennie were dating after they were seen enjoying a late-night date in November. SM Entertainment quickly confirmed the rumors and stated, Kai and Jennie have become fond of each other. Quickly after their relationship was revealed, they earned the nickname Top Idol Couple. Unfortunately, this relationship didn't last long at all. After just a few months of dating, SM Entertainment released a statement announcing that Kai and Jennie decided to break up. According to them, they decided to keep the original senior-junior relationship. It further stated that the idols were focusing on their work and decided to split for their respective groups and fans. Another Top Idol couple was revealed a few months later. In August of 2019, 2014, Dispatch reported that Twice's Jihyo and Kang Daniel were in a relationship and that they were together since the beginning of that year, and their agencies confirmed the rumors to be true not long after. Jihyo and Daniel decided to break up in November of 2020 after they became too busy with work. 2020. Everyone was shook to the core when the rumors about Twice's Momo and Super Junior's Heechul dating were confirmed to be real. Previously, their agencies denied that the idols were in a relationship when it was speculated in 2019, but just a few months later, they decided to make their relationship public. Market News first reported on their relationship and said, "The two of them are currently developing a beautiful love for each other despite their busy schedules. Apparently, Momo and Heechul became super close after they appeared together on a show in 2017. Now, understandably, everyone was shocked to hear the news. There were some who shared their negative feelings regarding the age difference, as there was a 13-year age gap between them, but the couple's fans quickly slammed those haters down. They ended their relationship after a year in July of 2021 as they grew apart due to their busy schedules. 2021. 2021 started off with some shocking news. That year, everyone was shook to find out that G-Dragon and Jennie were allegedly in a relationship. In February of 2021, Dispatch released a report in which they claimed that Jennie and G-Dragon had been dating for a year and that they witnessed the couple meeting secretly. According to Dispatch, the two idols usually spend their dates at home. The source also added that their relationship was a widely known secret within YG Entertainment and that it's usually Jennie's manager who would take her to and from G-Dragon's house. When YG Entertainment was asked about the rumors, all they said was, "We cannot confirm anything about our artists' personal lives. We ask for your understanding." Since the relationship has never been confirmed, it's hard to say if they're still together or if they've already broken up. The alleged couple was swept up in several breakup rumors over the past year, but nothing has been set in stone yet. 2022. It's safe to say that this might be the biggest dating rumor of this year, as it involves Jennie and V from BTS. It all blew up in August of 2022 when several pictures of the two idols were leaked and went viral on the internet. No one knows if the pictures are real or not, but both ARMYs and Blinks have been showing their support for the idols, encouraging everyone to cheer on the idols no matter if they're in a relationship or not. The first speculation about their relationship came out in December of 2021 when V accidentally followed Jennie on Instagram and unfollowed quickly after. In May of 2022, a picture of the alleged couple in Jeju Island got leaked, but many fans have settled on it being edited as a few things didn't add up regarding the picture. Then there were several backstage pictures and even some taken in V's apartment, but the user who originally posted them was accused of editing the pictures to make some kind of profit. As of right now, HYBE has yet to release a statement. YG did release a statement stating that they have nothing to say. But it wasn't just idols getting hate, as some tracks became the most talked about for all the wrong reasons. Along with the bangers that get released every year in K-pop, there are also songs that netizens just can't stand for some reason. So what are the most hated K-pop songs in the last 10 years? 2012. Hyuna has always known how to make netizens mad in just the right way, and their reactions to her 2012 hit song Ice Cream prove this the best. Hyuna had already established a more provocative image of herself and was just embracing this in Ice Cream, which was a song that was full of innuendos. Mostly, people hated how Hyuna's voice sounded in the song and considered it a downgrade from bubble pop. Plus, it didn't help her that Gain and Ailey came back at the same time, as people expressed that Hyuna's song was truly the worst track that came out in the same year. A netizen wrote, "What even is the point of that song? Gain and Hyuna's performances are both, but Gain has a good song so I listen to it anyway, but I hate Hyuna's voice in her song, and more than anything, I don't even know what the point of her song is." 2013. I'd be more surprised if the song that paved the way for experimental music wouldn't appear on this list. No matter how influential and iconic SNSD I Got a Boy is today, it wasn't well received by K-pop fans at the time of its release. Based on the other entries on this list, once a group makes a comeback that doesn't fit their signature sound, netizens are going to hate it. That's the case with I Got a Boy too. Some fans felt like it was a horrible mix of 5 different songs that the producers tried to fit into one track. Online forums were filled with negativity, bashing the song and the producers from coming up with it in the first place. A comment on Nate said, "The song sucks. I'm a fan and I really can't sit through the song. Is SM seriously crazy? How can they release something like this calling it a song?" As you can see, they had really strong feelings about it. 2014. This one was pretty controversial. In 2014, BTS released War of Hormone, and while the song is a banger, the lyrics are questionable. The lyrics of the song are considered misogynistic and objectifying. That's why many people had an issue with it. This is exactly why netizens thought that the group wouldn't go too far. The song got so much hate and backlash that BTS and Big Hit apologized for the lyrics and said that they would reflect so that lyrics of this nature would never appear in their songs again. 2015. If we're being honest, Amber's Shake That that brass should have never left the studio. At the time, it made sense that Amber would be the first one to make a solo debut out of all the FX girls. Not that the FX members weren't talented, but since Amber had already gotten tons of attention for her unique style and being one of the most daring idols at the time. So you can't blame FX stans for thinking that she'll deliver a bop with a unique concept. Well, they got the total opposite of that, and the song is a running joke among K-pop stans to this day. Not even the music video, which had every idol possible, or the fact that she collaborated with Taeyeon for the track could save the song from being a disaster. 2016. When Twice's Cheer Up came out, people mainly found the song annoying, the lyrics were accused of being misogynistic, and according to them, Cheer Up just wasn't as good as Twice's other title tracks. However, even if people like the song, there are two controversies that didn't help its reputation among netizens. The first was a badly edited MR Remove video that surfaced, and people immediately piled up on the members, accusing them of not being able to sing. The second was the nail in the coffin, and it was Cheer Up winning Song of the Year at the 2016 MAMAs. Why is this a big deal, you might ask? People already didn't like the song, but the fact that it went over Red Velvet's Red Flavor and Sista's I Like It made people dislike the song even more. 2017. Signal is still not a favorite among Twice stans, so you can imagine how much backlash the song got when it came out in 2017. Even if the song did well on the charts, netizens just assumed that it was because of Twice's fandom power and not because the song was good or listenable. Yeah, they hated it that much. This was mostly because Twice hadn't released anything like Signal to that point, so the song was unfamiliar. Yes, their discography is very versatile now, but back then they had a certain sound and stuck to it. Signal was unusual even to the members themselves. In an interview back in 2017, Jung Joon-young said, "It's different from our previous title songs, so we thought, what is this? When we heard it was our title track, it was just like, I see." But no matter how hard the members worked on the comeback, it seems like it wasn't being received well by the public. The music video was also massively disliked when the song first came out. A netizen said, "No one's hating on the group. The song is just really that bad. If any other girl group had released this, they'd be out of the charts. It's only hanging on because of Twice." 2018. No one who's a fan of Red Velvet can deny that Really Bad Boy was a new sound for the group. However, what added to people disliking the song so much was the title. Bad Boy is one of Red Velvet's most popular and beloved songs, so when people saw the title of the comeback, they were expecting something similar. Not only was Really Bad Boy very different from Bad Boy or literally anything Red Velvet had released up to that point, but it was also different to the other tracks on the album. People thought the track was just all over the place, repetitive, and were asking for Red Velvet to go back to their old sound. What really emphasized just how little people liked the song was that the song did not chart as well as Red Velvet's other releases. In fact, it managed to only top the Bugs chart on its debut day. 2019. And here we go again with our girls. In 2019, Red Velvet made their long-awaited comeback with Zimzalabim. Just from the teasers, people knew that Zimzalabim would be nothing like we've seen before from the girls. After all, if Red Velvet are known for something, it's their unique concepts that change with every comeback. But Zimzalabim wasn't a song that you would expect from Red Velvet. The song was way too experimental for fans and casual listeners alike, and it was dragged to filth for apparently being the worst Red Velvet song and the worst comeback of the year. A netizen commented, "Zimzalabim is their worst song to date." A Twitter user also wrote, "Red Velvet were so brave to put out Zimzalabim, worst song of 2019. However, Red Velvet also set the standard when it comes to experimental songs, so who really won in the end?" 2020. Since SM girl group shifted the entire K-pop industry with debut songs like Into the New World, Happiness, and La Cha Ta, all eyes were on aespa when they were about to debut. But it didn't sit right with people at first. The song overall felt messy, the lyrics didn't make sense since the Kwangya concept hadn't been introduced yet, and netizens felt like Black Mamba failed in comparison to other SM debuts. Twitter and online communities in South Korea were filled with negative comments about the song. A netizen wrote, "SM intended something with this group alright, but none of us know what it is. However, it's important to say that it grew on people just like Next Level did after its release." aespa weren't the only ones who caught heat in 2020, as Blackpink too were having an unfortunate year when it came to comebacks. Despite building up hype for Ice Cream featuring none other than Selena Gomez, the outcome was pretty disappointing for people who tuned in. According to listeners, the lyrics were bad, the beat was off, and there was also a whole controversy about Lisa mentioning Moses in her rap. How You Like That was also received badly by netizens because according to them, it was just another generic Blackpink song. 2021. If you've been on any social media platform in 2021, then you probably have seen people slandering NCT's Sticker like there's no tomorrow. We cannot say that Sticker wasn't a successful comeback though. The album was released on September 17th, 2021, 2021, and it broke multiple records. Sticker became NCT 127's best-selling album, one of the best-selling K-pop albums of 2021, and the best-selling album of all time by artists under SM Entertainment. It also topped multiple charts without breaking a sweat. However, the numbers and records didn't shield the title track from receiving a lot of backlash. It seems like NCT's experimentalism really threw some people off, especially the flute playing in the background, so it's safe to give it the title of the most hated song of 2021. 2022. I'm aware that 2022 isn't over yet, but since the English media had already talked about NMIXX's OO being the quote-unquote worst debut of all time, we just can't ignore it. The song was very anticipated because of the pre-debut content that JYP released, showcasing the members' talents, but when the song came out, it was crickets. And if you've ever listened to any debut song by JYP, you know that this is very unusual. I mean, considering that the other girl groups under that company debuted with iconic songs like Good Girl, Bad Girl, like Ooh Ah, Irony, and even Dala Dala, people found it hard to believe that JYP would miss this hard with OO. The song not only got massive negative attention, but it also flopped on the charts pretty hard. OO debuted at number 220 on Korea's Melon Music chart, which is pretty shocking when you consider that groups that debuted under smaller labels managed to snatch a spot at the top 10. If that wasn't enough, OO was out of all major Korean charts within a day of its release. Now, it's a fact that all publicity is good publicity. However, let's hope that JYP doesn't continue giving NMIXX bad songs for the sake of getting attention. But while some songs disappointed, some groups didn't survive at all. In today's video, we bring you the most shocking disbandment news from 2011 to 2022, so let's get right into it. 2011. 2011 was a big year for K-pop, as a lot of iconic groups debuted that year. Unfortunately, it was also the year when the girl group Sia, who has been a huge hit since their debut in 2006, officially disbanded. After 5 successful years with numerous awards up their sleeves and dozens of songs and collaborations under their name, several members of the group decided to depart. After Lee Soo-mi left Sia in July of 2010, the group briefly continued as a duo made up of 2 original members, Kim Yeon-ji and Lee Bo-ram. In December of 2010, their agency announced that the group will disband shortly after their next album release, which was in January of 2011. Namkyuri, who departed from the group in April of 2009, shared that departing from the group was the best thing she could do for herself since they were all so young and scared as well. 2012. 2012 saw the debut of legendary K-pop acts like EXID, Newest, or EXO. It seemed though that while one group debuted, a different one disbanded. Throughout the year, 6 groups overall disbanded, those groups being 2NB, Big Mama, Black Pearl, Broken Valentine, Loveholics, and T-Max. Fans of the duo group 2NB didn't have to be sad for long, because even though the group disbanded, Ho Sol-ji, who was a vocalist in 2NB, debuted as a member and a main vocalist of EXID the same year. 2013. 2013 saw the disbandment of the group DMTN, previously known as Dalmatian. They debuted in 2010, and their fame was on a steady rise in Korea after they released their 2 singles, Lover Cop and That Man Opposed. Everything seemed to be going great for them until one of the members, Daniel, got into a huge controversy which inevitably changed everything. Daniel was indicted in March of 2013 for selling, introducing, and using illegal substances. Daniel admitted to all his charges, and although his lawyers asked for leniency, it was not granted, and in October of 2013, Daniel was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Following the controversy, the group was put on an indefinite hiatus while the other members went to pursue solo activities. 2014. 2014 was a very sad year for fans of the group NEXT, which stood for New Experiment Team. They have been active between 1992 and 1997, and the group was reformed back again in 2003. This group was formed by the legendary singer and songwriter Shin Hae-chul, and after the group was put back together in 2003, they released 3 studio albums until some terrible news was reported in October of 2014. It was announced that Shin Hae-chul passed away at the age of 46, 6 days after he suffered a cardiac arrest. In August of 2015, Shin Hae-chul's family filed a lawsuit for negligence against the doctor who carried out the singer's surgery, claiming that Shin Hae-chul complained of fever and pain after the surgery, but the doctor did not do anything. His family was demanding 2.3 billion Korean won as compensation, and fortunately, in November of 2016, the doctor responsible for the surgery was found guilty and was sentenced to 10 months in prison and 2 years of probation. Since Shin Hae-chul's passing, the group has been considered to be on hiatus, although they haven't officially disbanded. 2015. In 2015, the seemingly troubled girl group Glam decided to call it quits. Debuting in July of 2012, it didn't take long until Glam encountered the first of many problems in their careers. Within the first 5 months after debut, it was announced that the founding member Trinity would be leaving the group due to personal reasons. This was a huge shock. Glam were at the peak of their careers. The reason for Trinity's departure had never been disclosed, although there were rumors going around that Trinity was a Sasang fan of Lee Took from Super Junior, and that's why she was made to leave
the group. It felt like the group had been cursed since then because in 2014, the actor Lee Byung-hun reported to the police that he was blackmailed and extorted by 2 women, one of them being Dahi from Glam. After Dahi was sentenced to 1 year in prison, Big Hit Entertainment and Source Music decided to officially disband the group. The reason for the disbandment was not only the fact that Dahi was convicted, but both agencies also stated that Glam's contracts expired at the end of 2014, so they didn't renew it in 2015. 2016 was an unfortunate year for so many groups, but the disbandment news that hit the hardest were definitely those of 21. The girl group was at the peak of their career, and so when the abrupt news of the group's disbandment came, everyone was rightfully shocked and surprised. No one really knew what happened until 2021 when the truth started to slowly come out. When CL did an interview with AP Entertainment, she revealed that she found out about the disbandment news through the media and no one bothered to inform her or any of the members. The reporter Lee Jin-ho decided to shine some light on what happened all those years ago and answer questions that remained unanswered until then. According to his insider intel, 21 was planning to continue as a 3-member group following Minji's departure. Their new album was supposedly prepared to be released when the news of their disbandment broke out. Another group that shocked the industry with disbandment news was 4Minute. On June 13th of 2016, Cube Entertainment announced that 4Minute would disband following their contract expiration, with only Hyuna renewing her contract with the agency. The agency's representative stated that although they tried to persuade half of the members to renew the contracts, they ended up accepting the members' decision not to continue as a group. 2017. This year was undoubtedly full of disbandments, as groups like 2AM, Miss A, and Sista decided to call it quits that year. On top of these legendary acts, 2017 was the year when IOI and Wonder Girls decided to break up. IOI was formed through the survival show Produce 101 in 2016, and their disbandment was announced just a few months after their debut, despite the group being very successful. In November of 2016, YMC Entertainment announced that IOI would disband on January 31st of 2017, but that the group would still be active and promoting until their contracts expire. Their last schedule as a group was on January 25th of 2017, and the group officially disbanded 4 days later on January 29th. Wonder Girls, on the other hand, disbanded after 10 wonderful years in the industry. The group debuted in 2007 after JYP Entertainment, and despite their lineup changing numerous times throughout the years, they will always be considered as pioneers of K-pop. 2018. The most talked about disbandment of 2018 was definitely the breakup of Triple H, consisting of Pentagon members Dawn and Hui and Hyuna. Triple H debuted in 2017, and their careers ended too quickly in 2018. In August of 2018, it was reported that Hyuna and Dawn are allegedly in a relationship, which Cube Entertainment quickly denied, stating that the rumor about these two were not true. Hyuna decided to pull an Uno reverse card, and she spoke up against the company, revealing that she and Dawn had been dating for 2 years already. The couple said, "We know that our relationship will stick with us, but we thought it would be difficult to see our fans on stage if we didn't announce it." After they have decided to come clean about their relationship, Cube Entertainment decided to remove them from the company, stating, "After much discussion and consideration, we have decided that we could not regain the trust of the 2 artists." I hope that Cube regrets letting them go, because Triple H could have been so successful. 2019 saw the fall of yet another Produce 101 group. In 2017, 101 made their debut after the survival show, and they immediately became popular among the rookie groups. In December of 2018, 101's agency Swing Entertainment announced that 101's contract would end as it was originally planned on December 31st of 2018. They were able to attend the year-end shows and award ceremonies throughout January 2019, but as soon as those ended, 101 was officially over. Just a few months after 101's disbandment, it was announced that Pristin would be parting ways as well. According to reports, both the members and their agency, Pledis Entertainment, sat down and decided on disbandment. Except for 3 members, everyone else in Pristin decided to terminate their contracts with the company. This disbandment didn't come off as a shock since Pristin didn't have any group activities for 2 years, but it was still sad news to wake up to because Pledis had obviously wasted the huge potential Pristin had. 2020. Swing Entertainment seems to have no luck when it comes to their artists, because just a year later after 101, they had to deal with yet another disbandment, and coincidentally, it was a Produce 101 group again called X1. X1 debuted in August of 2019 with the single Flash, but they didn't get to taste the stardom as they were affected by the investigation on Mnet's voting manipulation, and their activities were halted. The negotiation about the group's future was unsuccessful as well, and the process was overall pretty strange. Swing Entertainment and the members' individual agencies held a meeting to determine the future of the group, and a secret ballot was held by said agencies. The agencies agreed beforehand that the group would only continue if there was a unanimous agreement, or else the group would have to disband. Overall, 4 agencies voted that the group should continue, 4 agencies voted for the group's disbandment, and 1 agency's vote was unclear and immediately
immediately discarded. It was then determined that the group would disband. The way this was organized was deemed controversial and unfair by X1's fans, and they even staged a protest demanding the relaunch of the group, but all of their effort was unsuccessful. 2021. The popular girl group GFRIEND was forced to disband in 2021. On May 22nd of 2021, it was announced that GFRIEND would be officially disbanding since the members' contracts with Source Music ended and the members were not given the option to renew their contracts. What came off as a shock was when GFRIEND's leader Solwon shared that neither she nor the other members knew that they would be disbanding. She shared, "The members and I don't think the group was disbanded. However, it is true that it was really hard for us to accept it in our hearts because it was so sudden. It was really hard to say goodbye, but we have to live on and I can't just struggle." Netizens were pretty vocal about how they felt about the disbandment and even went on to say that it felt forced and one-sided since neither of the girls knew about it or either wanted to leave the group or pursue other activities. IZ*ONE was another group that disbanded in 2021 after their contracts expired in April. 2022. Although we are only in the first half of 2022, we've already been hit with some disbandment news, especially CLC and NMIXX. CLC decided to part their ways in May of 2022 after they had a pretty rough 2020 and 2021. After numerous members of the group decided to leave the company Cube Entertainment as they didn't decide to renew their contracts, and one member even filing a legal notice against the agency claiming that they haven't been paid for her activities, the news of their disbandment left all of their fans sad and heartbroken, but it seemed like it was for the best. The disbandment of NMIXX was announced after nearly a year of no releases and activities in February of 2022. The group's contract with Pledis Entertainment officially ended in March of 2022, but two members decided to renew their contract. To mark off their 10-year anniversary, they released a compilation album, Needles and Bubbles, on March 15th of 2022, closing off the decade of being a group. But before some groups disappeared, they faced relentless hate from the start.
Female groups have always been the target of unnecessary hate for basically everything, especially the fact that they're women. But what are the girl groups that got the most hate from 2011 to this year? Let me walk you through it. 2011. We're starting with a long one. You've probably heard of Black Swan, right? They've recently been on the news when one of the members, Fato, was accused of mistreating another member, so it was kind of hard to miss them. Well, Black Swan was formerly known as Rania and was originally set to debut in mid-2010 as a third generation of Baby VOX. However, their record company DR Music decided to rebrand them into a new group named Rania. Their debut song, Dr. Feelgood, was originally a Lady Gaga track that the composer of the song saved for Rania. And that's exactly when the trouble started. If you watch the music video for Dr. Feelgood, you'll probably see nothing wrong with it at its core. But back in 2011, the choreography and the music video had the South Korean population clutching their pearls. While the criticism about the members' ages were perfectly valid, the noise had mainly been about their provocative performances and lyrics. The Korean entertainment industry didn't like this bold expression of female sexuality, so Rania were basically crucified by netizens. They were forced to change their choreography, lyrics, and stage outfits for all of the live performances in order to promote their music. To this, they had an amazing response, re-uploading their music video and adding "Too Hot for Netizens" to the title. They really gave netizens the biggest middle finger, but they also received a lot of backlash when people called them disgusting slurs and even referred to them as stars. 2012. The tiara scandal was enough for the group's reputation to go down the drain. We all know of Hwang's lies and how she fed into the netizens' beliefs that the other members mistreated her and alienated her. That was Tiara's downhill as a group. But just to give you an idea of how big Tiara were at the time the scandal happened, they were literally competing directly with SNSD in terms of popularity. They had tons of CF deals, big fandoms in Korea, Japan, and China, and one of the members, Jiyeon, was one of the biggest visuals in terms of getting CFs and acting offers. After that, it was hit after hit. After people were raising suspicions that something foul was happening between the members, Hwang's fans started to gather evidence to prove their point, and even though it could all have been easily debunked, it was spreading way too fast. Tiara's fall started to happen overnight. The Tiara fan cafe lost 6,000 fans in one day, while T Jinyo, an anti-fan cafe, had 270,000 already. The hate accumulated in an SBS producer claiming he would never invite Tiara again. Companies even started to restrict idols' use of social media because of this situation. But luckily for all fans of good music, the situation was all cleared up a few years ago, and Tiara even made a comeback in 2021. I hope these queens never leave the scene again. 2014. While I couldn't find any particular group that got an insane amount of hate in 2013, I think we need to discuss how ironic it is that Red Velvets hate aespa because they think SM debuted them to replace Red Velvet, when Red Velvet themselves were hated on for debuting when they did. 2014 was a really rough year for SM. Amidst all the dating rumors of 5 SNSD members, Chris and Luhan sued the company over their contracts. If that wasn't enough, Silly went on an indefinite hiatus, Jessica left SNSD, and rumors of her sister Crystal following in her footsteps started popping up. Just as fans started worrying about FX's future as a group because of all the things that had happened, Red Velvet debuted. The rumors for the reason behind their debut varied from SM trying to pull all the attention away from SNSD and Silly to SM using them to try and replace FX altogether. So instead of focusing all of their attention on the company and, well, bad timing, unhinged FX and K-pop stans fans started hating on Red Velvet, as if the members were personally responsible for picking the date of their debut. They got even more hate when Yeti joined the group next year, right after the rumors started to spread about Tao leaving EXO. All of this hate was totally meaningless. 2015. You know the saying, sells, right? The company behind Stellar knew that it may be the only way to get attention in K-pop. With many of the top groups making a comeback in the summer of 2014, it was difficult for less popular groups to make a name for themselves. For girl groups, the tasks were even more difficult due to comebacks from major stars like SNSD, Wonder Girls, Sistar, AOA, and Girls' Day. In order to shine, every act had to pull out all the tricks, and Stellar did just that to gain attention. Stellar's Vibrato is a girl group's third attempt at gaining the Koreans' public eye with an overly suggestive concept, a follow-up song to Marionette and Mask. With each song, Stellar got a bit of fame for a seemingly scandalous outfit or dance, and each time that success ebbed, and well, we know how these concepts do with netizens. The members were shamed. The choreo was changed by KBS, the music video was banned entirely, and it was one of the most disliked music videos of 2015. This gets even sadder when you take into consideration how one of the members revealed that they were forced into doing these concepts by the company, and how they weren't even comfortable with it. 2016. This is another case of second generation girl groups fans hating newer groups for replacing their faves. It was the same when Blackpink debuted. In 2016, Boompaya got released and 21 officially disbanded, and it wasn't pretty. According to Koreaboo, there are numerous reasons behind their split. It started with Boom going on an indefinite hiatus in 2014 after her so-called scandal with her ADHD medication. In 2016, Minzy left the group, and later that year, YG Entertainment announced that the group was disbanding. At the same time, CO had trouble in the US because of YG's incompetence, so trust Blackjacks to blame this all on Blackpink and start calling them copies of 21. Adding to the fact that their debut and other Blackpink songs were proven to be for 21, plus the hate Jennie got before she even debuted, and you had the recipe for disaster. But thankfully, Blackpink decided to rise through all of that hate and became the most popular girl group in the world. But I must say, 21 deserved better. 2017. In 2017, Mamamoo came under fire from both international fans and Korean fans for a video involving blackface. It first spread as a photo that was a screenshot from a video that played at their concert in Seoul. In the video, the girls are seen dressed up as Bruno Mars and his backup dancers in an attempt to look like them. They were wearing blackface makeup with costumes, and well, people were understandably upset. Mamamoo and their company didn't even try to excuse themselves and released an apology, saying they'll be taking time to understand more about their international fans to ensure that this never happens again. 2018. The hate bandwagon for Momoland started when BAM got released. The backlash they got for appropriating other cultures in the music video was probably expected, but the hate didn't stop with that. The members also got hate for something other fandoms made up by themselves. They got caught into controversy when Nancy was accused by netizens of supposedly glaring at the Blackpink members when they won first place at Music Core with Doo 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 Doo. Nancy gushed over Jennie in an Instagram live, so it's ridiculous to claim that she hates the members. Nancy herself also shared on Weekly Idol that she used to be asked by many people if she was angry because of her emotionless face. Since that incident, Momoland has been constantly caught up in scandals regarding their attitude, most notably not bowing to their seniors at music shows or award shows. The hate only grew when ARMYs found a video of Momoland members laughing and came to their own conclusions that they were laughing at BTS's performance at the MGA Awards. In addition to this, they were also criticized for not bowing to their seniors, especially BTS or TWICE, when they went up to receive their awards, despite Jimin bowing to them. And ever since, Momoland's social media has been under attack and bombarded with criticism from BTS fans. The hate went so far that they disabled the comments on their social media. I truly think people need to leave them alone. 2019. People hate groups for being a part of the big three, but they also hate them when they're not a part of the big three. So go figure. ITZY's hate bandwagon can mostly be explained by the first. A lot of people hated ITZY since their debut because they gained a lot of attention and popularity thanks to JYP and TWICE. This is a similar case to what happened with Blackpink and Red Velvet. They were also criticized for being less talented than the groups that debuted in the same year. Not only that, but the haters copy-pasted the lazy Jennie scandal and used it on Leah, accusing her of not putting enough effort into the performances compared to the other members. Overall, all this hate seems to stem from how many achievements they managed to have as a rookie group. 2020. I don't think I need to explain the AOA situation again since it's been talked about enough by everyone at this point, but all it took was a few Instagram unfollows and a comment from Mina for netizens to conclude that Jimin wasn't the only member to have mistreated Mina. Overall, AOA had a great year. Despite not winning Queendom, they got a lot of attention for their performances and their comeback. But it all came crashing down when Mina made her first post on how she had been treated by Jimin during the 10 years they trained and were in a group together. And despite her only naming Jimin as her only perpetrator, the fact that she unfollowed Chanmi and Seolyeon, then Haejong and Yuna made netizens think that the other AOA members either took part in the or were bystanders. Then Mina named Chanmi and Seolyeon as bystanders, and that's when all hell broke loose. Everyone accused AOA of being bystanders, and the rest of the members, especially Jimin, went into hiding to avoid all the hate that they had been getting. But as of now, Seolyeon has been seen hanging out with Jimin multiple times, and all the other members went back to normal. Now all we need is a comeback with the remaining members, and then peace will be restored in the world. 2021. Aside from Giselle's controversy of mouthing the N-word, I really don't get why people hate aespa. Their talent for being too pretty, the non-stop hate against these girls, degrading their singing to their rapping to their dancing to just about every aspect of their career is genuinely shocking to me. I haven't seen a group get this much backlash in a while. Sure, they had the plagiarism scandals and a few other controversies that were mostly misunderstandings that netizens blew into much bigger issues than they actually were, but none of them were really valid reasons to hate them. Like, remember the time Winter was accused of being a part of a far-right group just for speaking in her dialect? Insane. But if these haters lose time and nerves hating on successful women while aespa keeps breaking records and making money, then so be it.
And the hate wasn't one-sided, since male groups weren't spared either. From being hated because of their music style or their fandom name, some boy groups seriously had it rough. If it wasn't the whole group, then there was that one member who took the group down with him. Let's go down memory lane to see who were the most hated boy groups in the last decade. 2012. It was in March of 2012 when JYJ, particularly Taejung and Newton, got themselves stuck in a huge controversy. All K-pop fans know that sasaengs are a huge problem, and they can seriously be a danger to idols. But in 2012, it seemed like Taejung and Newton took it way too far. On March 6 of 2012, it was reported that a few days prior, an audio file including Taejung and Newton verbally and physically threatening their fans was uploaded on an online forum. In the audio file, Taejung can be heard swearing at sasaengs. The audio then picked up the sounds of Taejung actually hitting the fans, as well as the female fans whimpering out of pain. The file is said to be from 2009, around the time Dobang Shingi was at the edge of falling apart. It's suspected that the audio was recorded when the sasaengs were following the two members who were on their way to go out for drinks. At that time, JYJ's representative stated, "It's difficult to understand and grasp the details of the event because the members are out of the country. When the scandal happened, JYJ were in Chile and Peru for their tour." Although some netizens sided with Taejung and Newton, the vast majority of the comments heavily criticized them for their behavior, stating that such behavior is never acceptable no matter the situation. On March 8th, JYJ held a press conference where they spoke about the audio file. Newton shared that even though they received a lot of love from the public, they had to deal with sasaengs ever since their debut in 2004. He continued, "It felt like a prison because someone would always follow me, watch me, and would try to share everything about me." Junsu and Jaejung gave statements of similar nature, expressing the huge discomfort sasaeng fans brought to them. At the end of the conference, Jaejung apologized for their behavior, stating that they will own up to the responsibility they have as public figures. While what sasaengs and JYJ did was both wrong, it's hard to say who the real victim in this case is. 2013. 2013 was the year BTS debuted, and as we all know, their debut story and their beginnings in the industry were everything but easy. As soon as BTS debuted, the group wasn't well received by the public, and they received hundreds of malicious comments that doubted their potential and talent. They were shamed for coming from a small company, and it took some time until the public and K-pop fans started to recognize their talents. At the time of their debut, BTS shared that one of their role models is the legendary Big Bang. This became a gateway for haters to send negativity to the group. BTS had to deal with comments like, "Just because your role model is Big Bang doesn't mean you become like them," and they'll probably try to be like Big Bang and then disappear a year later, 2 years at most. Back in the day, K-pop fans generally didn't like anyone who didn't come from the big three, but we all know the things BTS have achieved and that they proved their haters wrong. 2014. In 2014, the whole nation turned their backs on SS501 and on Hyunjun in particular. Hyunjun is actually deemed as one of the most hated people in South Korea in 2014 and 2015 as well, because of accusations that he caused physical harm to his girlfriend. The accusations came out in August of 2014, with his girlfriend releasing pictures of her injuries allegedly caused by Hyunjun. He also apparently injured her ribs to the point it took 6 weeks for them to heal. His girlfriend at that time filed a criminal complaint, but that was withdrawn after Hyunjun released an official apology and agreed to pay her a settlement of around $538,000. He was also fined around $4,500 for charges of assault and battery. His girlfriend later came forward to announce that she was pregnant and revealed messages between her and Hyunjun Hyunjun, who told her to terminate her pregnancy and even called her a pig. Hyunjun was suddenly hated by thousands of people, and fans were leaving his fandom more and more each day. It was later revealed that his ex-girlfriend made up the pregnancy completely, and she was sued by Hyunjun for fraud, but it didn't take away the damage that had already been done. 2015. In January of 2015, B1A4 got tangled up in a huge storm regarding pop culture and religion. When the group had their concert in Malaysia, the members were caught on a video hugging a group of Muslim fans during the show. Another girl was kissed on the forehead by another member as well, and the video went viral really quickly. As all of the girls were wearing the tudong or headscarf, what they did sent the group a huge wave of criticism. The three girls were even threatened by the authorities, and some critics claimed that the K-pop genre is a Christian conspiracy. The girls were heavily criticized as well, and it seemed like the critics and political parties were the ones who criticized the group the most. One of the ministers even said, "I hope Malaysian girls return to tall, dark, and handsome men and not pale, skinny, and pretty men. Those are not real men." Although the hate wasn't so severe, there was definitely some unwanted attention B1A4 had to deal with at that time. 2016. July of 2016 was not a good month for GOT7 and their fans. When the group attended Mark's father's pool party in Los Angeles, where they were for tour, Bam Bam was caught using an inappropriate racial slur on video. The video of Bam Bam saying the N-word spread like wildfire all over the internet, and while their fans came to the rescue and claimed that Bam Bam didn't know the history behind it, the damage was already done. Many fans were angry at Bam Bam and demanded an apology, while some declared that they would no longer support Bam Bam at all. Aware of the situation, Bam Bam posted a video on his Instagram and wrote an apology in the comments. The apology read, "I want to say I'm sorry for what I've done, and I know this is all my mistake. I don't want to stay quiet like this. I'll do something when I get back to Korea. I promise. This is all my fault. I'm sorry." On top of that, Yoogyeom came under fire for seemingly being under the influence while at the party. While he was above the legal age in Korea, he wasn't of age in the United States, which caused some fans to criticize him for underage drinking. 2017. Both T.O.P. and Big Bang found themselves in hot waters because of T.O.P.'s scandal revolving around the consumption and possession of marijuana. T.O.P. was accused of illegally smoking the substance 4 times in October of 2016, and he was accompanied by a female trainee as well. During the police investigation, T.O.P. stated that he didn't know what he was smoking, but then he ended up admitting to it. In July of 2017, T.O.P. was sentenced to a 10-month prison sentence. He was suspended for 2 years as well, and had a fee of around $11,000. At the time of the scandal, T.O.P. was serving his mandatory military service as a conscripted police officer, but was kicked out of the position after the scandal broke out. At that time, the criticism and negativity was mainly focused on T.O.P., but Big Bang as a group was a target as well, given their already controversial past. 2018. Stray Kids were fresh in the industry, but malicious netizens and haters had an absolute field day sending this group unnecessary and oftentimes baseless hate, comments, and threats. It's a well-known fact that Stray Kids do things their own way, which is the reason why so many people adore them. Yet their beginnings in the industry were rough. One of the stays on Reddit compiled only some of the things Stray Kids had to deal with in 2017 and 2018, and there's a lot. When Stray Kids released District 9 in 2018, some BTS fans decided that the music video was plagiarizing BTS's No. When the I Am Who era came, Stray Kids struggled with their sales and their spots in the music charts, which became another reason to hate on them. During IMU, Stray Kids covered Twice as Fancy during an award show, and the haters went absolutely insane because of that. At the beginning, everything that Stray Kids did seemed like another reason to send them threats, call them names, shame them, and belittle them. When they released Side Effects, the pot with the hate overflowed. Other K-pop fans called the song noise music, which unfortunately became a synonym for Stray Kids' songs for a long time. Eventually, they owned up to their unique and energetic sound, but 2018 was definitely not a good year for them. 2019. In 2019, T-Bird were just 2 weeks after their debut when they already became embroiled in a controversy. It happened on March 29th of 2019, and T-Bird debuted on March 14th. The group received a lot of criticism for allegedly disrespecting Mamamoo during a music show. On an episode of Music Bank, Mamamoo placed first for their single Go Go Baby, and while the girls were accepting their trophy, T-Bird members moved to the back behind Mamamoo and started lifting each other up while other members handed the girls some flowers. Mamamoo's fans found what T-Bird did really disrespectful and disruptive as well, as they accused the group of stealing the spotlight from Mamamoo. As a response, the group did release a formal apology. Some Mamamoo fans accepted it, but others deemed it insincere, and some even demanded T-Bird to disband. 2020. 2020 barely started, and Hongbin from VIX was already causing controversy not only for himself, but for the whole group. On February 29th, Hongbin decided to host a live stream, but it would quickly go downhill. In just 4 hours, Hongbin drank 3 bottles of soju and a bottle of wine, and by the end of it, he was intoxicated to the point that he couldn't keep keep his mouth shut. To begin with, Hongbin flipped his viewers off, which shocked the viewers given Hongbin's usually charming personality. He then started to talk really rudely about other groups such as SHINee, EXO, Red Velvet, and Infinite. While he was watching SHINee's performance of Everybody, Hongbin commented, "Who mixes this kind of idol music with band music? It sucks." When he was listening to Red Velvet, he criticized them for the song being too idol-like and for the color of their music being too strong. When this chaos came to an end, VIX's Leo posted an alleged response to Hongbin's behavior after fans expressed their concerns and disappointment. Leo tweeted, "Don't worry and have a good dream. I'm sorry, my muses." Unfortunately, Hongbin was back 2 hours later at around 5 a.m. According to viewers, he was seemingly less drunk and he tried to explain himself. Someone came to his house around 6 a.m. and after Hongbin came back from answering the door, Hongbin shared that it was actually Leo who came by and told him to quit the group before promptly leaving. Hongbin ended the live stream saying that he will leave the group if that's what his group members want. In fact, Hongbin did leave the group later that year in August of 2020. 2021. While February of 2021 was full of various accusations, one stood out among all of them because of how unexpected it was. When 17's Mingyu was accused of some horrible things he supposedly did in high school, no one really knew how to react. While the majority of their fans decided to wait it out and left it to Pledis Entertainment to handle the issue, the others wasted no time in turning their back on Mingyu and the group, even going as far as calling Mingyu terrible names and demanding him to leave the group. Mingyu was then put on indefinite hiatus while the company investigated the issue, but it all came down to one Twitter account. The person who spread the allegations was a Twitter user at Cholka, and after a couple of different translations of the original post were shared, many people realized that what at Cholka said was far from the truth. Even though the Twitter account apologized for their mistranslation, the damage was already done. In the end, Mingyu's allegations were cleared and the situation was resolved, but the fact that Cholka's mistranslation caused so many people to call Mingyu names and hate on him is something Carrots can't easily forget. 2022. When IST Entertainment announced that they would be debuting a new group, everyone was excited until they announced the group's name. Previously, 7 contestants were chosen through the show The Origin, A, B, or What. Then it was announced that the 7 boys would debut in a group called ABO, which stands for At the Beginning of Originality. Unfortunately, the group name was soon met with a lot of concerns with fans, as some pointed out that the term could be misunderstood as a racial slur in Australia. The name was changed a couple of days later, and now the group is known as ABO. But sometimes it wasn't the idols at all, it was the trends surrounding them.
Trends in K-pop have come and gone. Some were good, some were bad, and some were downright questionable. They're all still amazingly memorable though, so let's look at the worst K-pop trends of the last decade. 2011. Okay, so can anyone explain what exactly was going on in 2011 that had nearly every K-pop idol sounding like they were singing in front of a fan? Idols aren't the first and will definitely not be the last artist to use autotune, as it's still heavily used today, but older fans can probably remember how big and obvious the autotune use was in 2010 and 2011. I'm just glad it's not as heavily used today, because I'd get tired of every idol trying to sound like T-Pain. 2012. Bad hairstyles, I believe, are a rite of passage in K-pop. You'll see an idol have a very peculiar hairstyle at one point or another, so it's always better to be prepared for the next time you see your favorite idol and their hair looks like it was cut with kitchen scissors in a pitch black room. K-pop fans in 2012 lived their lives in fear in what ridiculous hairstyle their favorite idol would appear in. I mean, do y'all remember Kai's clip-on fringe? Or perhaps MBLAQ's Mean's weird braided mullet? Or even worse, and be prepared, Sunny's curly bob cut that seemed to change colors depending on her mood? I still wake up in the middle of the night covered in sweat just thinking about it. The dubstep break was basically a subgenre of K-pop in 2012. Hyuna is the one to introduce the dubstep break in 2011 with Bubble Pop, but as much as I love my girl, I think the trend took a very different turn. A new K-pop song would come out and it would be fine, great even. And then came the unnecessary dubstep part, most commonly accompanied with a dance break, and it would catch everybody off guard. I think I could even classify it as a jump scare. I'm thankful the trend ended just as quickly as it started, because I don't think I'd be able to handle it in 2021. 2013. IU went viral in 2013, but it was all for the wrong reasons. On an episode of Night of TV Entertainment, IU revealed the diet plan that she had used to lose the weight she had gained from filming Belle Ami. She consumed 1 apple in the morning, 2 sweet potatoes for lunch, and a protein powder drink per day. It's very worrying, I know. But despite the fans' concern for how unhealthy the diet seemed, following it turned into a trend and even a challenge for idols and fans alike. People even follow it to this day. IU sought professional help, and after seeking treatment, she's getting much better at following the new, healthier eating rules she had imposed on herself, but this was definitely one of the worst trends ever. I mentioned the horrible hairstyles of this era of K-pop, but it would eat me alive if I didn't mention the rainbow hair trend, because oh boy, I am never forgiving Hyoyeon and Sehun for this. Did they make it it look good somehow? Yes. Did I enjoy watching it become a trend amongst idols? Definitely not. It looked like their stylist had a coupon for hair colors that expired on that day, so they went all out on the hair. And the worst part about it, we all wanted rainbow hair back then too. 2014. Nothing says early 2010 fashion like wearing shorts over tight pants or leggings. Unfortunately, the trend reached the K-pop scene too. While girl group stans were safe during this era, fans of boy groups had to sleep with one eye open. From B2B, Block B to EXO, everyone wanted to participate in the trend for some reason. Thank God the stylists finally came to their senses and stopped setting these boys up, with a few exceptions. We haven't complained about makeup trends yet, so better start now. What was up with the whole gradient lips trend? The whole technique of it has improved a lot since 2014, but why was it so important for the makeup artists to make female idols look like they have no lips whenever they went out in public? They did make it work out in the end because there's no makeup in the world that can make Irene look ugly, but at what cost? 2015. The Lolita concept isn't new to K-pop, and unfortunately that also goes for utilizing schoolgirls and younger girls in general. This terribly disgusting phenomenon has existed since the dawn of time, but 2015 saw a surge of it in the K-pop scene, with IU being swept up in controversies about her album Shire having connection to the Lolita theme. Other female idols became the target of criticism by netizens for playing with the same concept. Sulli was one of the idols who got bashed by netizens for having a Lolita-themed photo shoot. SM also got criticism for showing a then 16-year-old Yeti in a bikini in the music video for Red Velvet's Ice Cream Cake. Add that to all the innuendos in the English version, and it makes the whole thing weirder. Buying albums in bulk has become the norm for K-pop groups nowadays, but it was different back then. There were 2 versions of an album, and at most, there was a version for every member. Then SM decided to do the unthinkable, and if it's surprising to you now, imagine how EXO's felt back in 2015. They decided to release not 1, not 2, not even 3 versions of Exodus, but 20. I think this probably prompted other companies to take notes and release as many versions of one single album as they can to get the most amount of money with the least amount of work and reach the highest sales on the music charts. 2016. There's no denying that an issue with colorism exists within K-pop. It was around 2016 that whitewashed photos of idols became the norm. Entertainment companies, magazines, and other media outlets released and still release altered pictures all the time, and fan-taken pictures are often brightened to the point that idols blend in with the white background. It's actually disturbing, but despite the fact that this phenomenon hasn't gone away entirely, things have definitely improved since then. The first step was idols not using that weird snow filter app that made them look transparent. I'm gonna count that as a win for us. Let's discuss the weird grudge SM stylists have against the artists, because I have no other explanation for the styling during NCT's fire truck era. You could call it experimental and innovative and androgynous, but I call it randomized Sims outfits. All jokes aside, putting a bunch of pretty boys in those clothes should be considered a crime. But bad styling or not, some of the outfits paved the way for the overused e-boy style, which boy groups follow to this day and that everyone is probably tired of seeing. So can we conclude that NCT were ahead of their time with this one, or not? 2017. Female idols have always struggled with the fact that their stylists couldn't care less about their safety or comfort, but 2017 was a particularly bad year and Irene of Red Velvet was the main victim of it. For example, when Red Velvet were performing at the 2017 Golden Disc Awards, they put Irene in a sweater dress that kept riding up while she was performing. Or does anyone remember that one Red Flavor performance where she pulled down her dress 9 times? Terrible. Apparently other stylists decided to follow in their footsteps, but they didn't draw the line of performances only, but award shows too, as idols like Sana and Lisa were put in dresses that you can barely climb the stairs in. Definitely not a cool trend. 2018. Technically, I know that K-pop idols didn't invent dabbing, but I had to include it here because the era still gives me nightmares. You couldn't get through one performance or an interview without idols dabbing randomly. Groups like Monsta X and Twice even included them in their official choreography. I mean, that was definitely a choice. Tropical House is one of those trends that were cute at first, but definitely overstayed their welcome. A few tropical songs here and there were fine, but there came a time where you couldn't escape these types of songs. The genre just isn't versatile enough to handle the huge amount of songs and keep it interesting at the same time, so every song started to sound the same at some point. Lucky for us, not only did this trend end in K-pop, but it's faded out of Western pop as well, which is great because not every song needed to sound like a Kygo track. 2019. Remember where you'd go under any tweet and you'd see a random fan cam attached under it? Tweets about sports, news, weather, pics of cute dogs. If you check the replies to any tweet during this time, you'd see a fan cam and Stan XYZ written above it. It was annoying at first, but then it became downright disgusting as people started replying with fan cams to serious news and tweets. We can thankfully consider this trend done, but it caused big damage for the time it existed. You thought the horrible hair trends were over with the second gen? Well, do I have some some wonderful news for you. The mullet trend came back in full force after idols like BTS's Taehyung and EXO's Baekhyun did them right. But again, just because there's nothing these idols can do to look ugly doesn't mean we have to see everyone else do it. I can't pretend to like it on everyone. 2020, just like colorism, cultural appropriation has always existed as a problem in the K-pop industry. Within K-pop, there's blackface, mouthing or saying racial slurs, and purely aesthetic uses of black culture and hairstyles are still common, but 2020 seemed to be a pretty bad year when it came to this. After posting pictures of her getting the braids done, Hyuna was met with backlash from fans calling her out for cultural appropriation. Jaehee from Weekly was also criticized for saying she wanted to try out reggae hair. Hongjoon from ATEEZ was also under fire for wearing cornrows for the Title No. 2 album, and even though the company apologized, the hair wasn't edited out of the content. But these things have already happened back in 2017 when Sunny made a big mistake and wore dreads. It is true that cultural training has started to become a thing in the industry, but there's still a long way to go before we can avoid instances like this again. 2021. With TikTok rising in popularity over the last 2 years, entertainment companies have started to pick up on how important the app is for marketing. In order for companies to get the most clout and listeners, they're incorporating simple dance moves that TikTokers could do so that they can make a challenge out of it. Yup, fully trained dancers are being made to channel their inner Addison Rae. It just reminds me of when idols were doing the shoot dance and the floss everywhere. I mean, it's a good strategy, I have to give it to them. And let's close this video with the worst of the worst trends of this year: noise music. I can't pinpoint exactly when basically every song sounded like the producer shoved a fork into a garbage disposal and slapped some vocals on top of it, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. Just like with the tropical house trend, the first few times we heard noise music was interesting, then everything started sounding the same. Whether they have the same producer or are copying the notes from each other, I have no idea, but they better come up with some new stuff because every trend has its limits.
As you can see, K-pop history is full of highs and lows, and we've only scratched the surface. So if you want more stories like these, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next.